Claudia, we're having this conversation because of you and sweet little Andres here, who's almost 1 year old.
That's right. It's birthday week.
Yay!
Which is perfect to have this conversation because I wanted to share Jeny's friendship and love with you because it's a very timely time for you in your pregnancy and your life. But the idea of being able to have the birth experience that you want as much as possible and easing into it and knowing your own strength and your abilities and having someone with love and care and patience to help encourage that experience for you is, I think, one of the biggest blessings that we can have as women.
So you had Jeny with you for your experience with this little guy here.
And can I share how I came to know Jeny?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
So I was shopping at Trader Joe's as I always do, and the cashier tells me that he recognized me from TV, which everyone wants to have that experience, right?
Yeah.
That's the only time it's happened. And he said, what? And I'm like, I don't need makeup on. I had interviewed a local artist in Carlsbad, and he talked about how his wife is an artist in Carlsbad. And I thought, how cool, like I want to follow her stuff. And so I started following her on Instagram. And we became good friends. He and I, every time we saw each other, found out we're both from South America, have kids around the same age. And then I had always dreamed of having like a henna tattoo on my pregnant belly whenever I became pregnant. And I thought, I don't know how I'll make that happen. So I started following her on Instagram. And I saw that she does this beautiful, how do you say it? Mandala art. And what's funny is it's so cool how life works. So, well, then she starts posting things about henna, and then she writes me a message and says, I would love to do henna tattoo on your belly, like just for trade, for my portfolio or whatever. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I meet her, and it's such a an ease of a friendship and conversation, and we have a lot of things in common. We are vibing really well, and I end up finding out that she was a volunteer doula as well. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, that's another thing I would have dreamed to have, but I don't know if I have the means to. She's like, I would love to be there if it works out. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a blessing. That'd be so cool. And as she did the tattoo, it was such a beautiful gift too of her talent and time, and it felt like a blessing on my baby. And we had really good conversation about the pregnancy. And for me, fortunately, it was a very healthy pregnancy, but it was kind of stressful emotionally. I wasn't working at the time, and I was doing it alone, and so I felt like sharing that moment with her was so beautiful, and the art ended up being so beautiful, but the experience was so gratifying and warm. And I said something about it later that every time I looked down at my belly, I felt like a special blessing on my belly, and it was a reminder of that connection I had with her. So anyway, so we become friends, we see each other, and then when it comes down to my water breaks at Target. It wasn't like in the movies. Nobody noticed. I noticed. And I'm kind of scrambling to, okay, who's going to be with the kids? And okay, I got to do this and that. And I hear that when you have like the third birth, it comes a lot faster. So I'm a little worried about that. Well, everything falls into place. And her husband's actually able to have my kids over to sleep over with his kids, which was a beautiful blessing. And that's something I wasn't expecting at all, but she just happened to be there at the right time. And then she was able to meet me with my mom at the hospital, and they had a great connection too. And I think her energy was able to like help my mom have the calming energy for me as well in the process. And so just so beautiful all around how it came together, which I'm really grateful for. And
I say too, like I think because part of it, because I did like work with your mom a lot while we were waiting, and I think it like kind of like switched the energy, and it was, I don't know if there was like tension or anything, but like I think that was also kind of part of the process for you both.
Yes, yeah, and that's so important too. Thank you for sharing that, because so I am also a wedding and event planner and coordinator, and I tell brides like they love to plan the whole wedding and especially the aesthetics of it, but you need someone that day to take the stress off and just focus on the love and all the things you want to enjoy. So if grandma's not happy with something or the cake person has an issue, like get somebody else. And the same thing with a doula, like For the mother, for the birth, everything just needs to be about her experience, her honing in her power, and enjoying that experience that will never come again, that is very unique.
And trying to remember that you did wait.
I can help you with the baby, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so same thing. Like I know so many people were like, I don't want somebody at the birth, but they're gonna be there anyway. No,
it happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, like
and so we feel like
have somebody
because
there
it's
that
like a family member, and you feel bad saying no. But like you gotta know this is your experience, and I mean, family members should respect and not take it personally because it's like an intimate moment that you wanna feel, you know. In your own skin, and you want to be able to be free to move and not feel like you're going to be judged by somebody if you do this or you do that, because you don't know what you're going to do. Like you need to be able to let go and actually work with your body.
So how do you explain exactly what a doula is for those people who don't?
So a doula is more like a birthing coach, like an emotional support for the mom. I mean, we do have, like, I went to some training, and we do have to, like, learn a little bit about, like, you know, the medical stuff, but that's not, like, our priority or anything like that. It's more, like, emotional support for the mom and the partner, the husband, too. It's not, sometimes they think it's, like, a replacement for the husband or, you know, the partner, but it's totally not. It's more, like, involving the partner as well. So it's more of a support for the family, for the couple, for the mom, emotional support. Just it's basically just, we're there just to remind you of your own strength.
Okay.
Yeah, and because we go through vulnerable moments that we sometimes need that little voice that reminds us.
Yeah, and I can imagine too, you know, some men are probably like,
yes, and that happened with me because with my first labor, you know, I didn't know, or, you know, I was, and I grabbed my husband's hand, and I felt like he was so nervous. He was more like he was so scared. I'm like, don't touch me. I want somebody else. And it was like a really sweet nurse that was there, and she's like, oh, and then she had like this calming energy, and I'm like, please, yes, this is what I need. So like little touches like that makes a huge difference when you're in that, you know, in that process.
And you say that helps you.
And to have someone who has tact in doing that too, not just like, you need to leave, like get away, but you know, you need to find someone who's been trained or just, it's part of their personality, they'll naturally do it in a comforting way. And there's probably people who are in the room who want to give good energy, but they're just having a hard time, or like you said, maybe the partner, they're scared of a hospital or something. Yeah. And so to have someone there to be able to kindly and professionally and without taking offense, you know, saying
because
this
it does affect on your, you know, on the process of the mom. Like I had an experience where there was a little bit of tension in the room because the mom of dad wanted to be there and the mom too, and you know, and the mom to be, you know, she was starting to get high blood pressure and all that, so it does affect the environment you're in. We were so I was there, and I kind of like, you know, set up like a little nice space for just the mom and the dad to be there with the contractions, the rolling and all that, and then everybody was sitting, you know, more like as spectators more than just putting, you know, opinions and stuff like that, because that can affect your experience for sure.
Yeah. So how did you get into being a doula? Like, what led up to that point? Like, I'm going to be a doula.
Well, after I had my third baby, I didn't have doulas, but I had midwives, and they're like, you know, they're like the doctors, but they don't really do C-sections, but they're there with you throughout the whole, you know, labor. They stay with you. And for my last baby, the midwives were going through something with the hospital, you know, insurance or something, I don't know, and so they were not allowed to be there. They were cutting their hours and stuff. So that was very disappointing when I got there to not see my midwife. And I can totally see how that can affect a mom that is, you know, it's her first time. I mean, this was my third baby, so I kind of knew how to, like, you know, get it together and stuff. But like I keep asking for my midwife, and oh no, do this, do that, and you know, I feel like I wasn't given the attention that I needed. And so I got into like researching, you know, the midwives, and then I found doula work and all that, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so awesome. And then I happened to find like a hospital that was really close to where I was living that was offering doula training. So I got into it, and there's doulas for pregnancy and also after birth. doulas.
Okay.
Like they can be with you, help you, with cooking or taking care of yourself and all that. So yeah, so it's not just during labor, but there's doulas because that's how it used to be a long, long, long time ago. It was just like doulas that stay there with you throughout the whole thing, give you water, anything that you need. Like I had a woman that anything that gives you comfort at the moment, and she's like, I love getting my hair done. She was going through contraction. It was like her last part of labor, and she's like, can I have some braids? And I'm like, of course. So I was doing her braiding her hair as she was having contraction, and that gave her peace, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, wow.
That's so sweet.
So doulas, you can be at a home birth, hospital, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
like
we're more like a companion to you, Even I was a doula for a mom that was having a C-section. So like it doesn't have to be just natural. Of course I I encourage people to do it naturally because I had such an amazing experience that I want, it was empowering. So, but you can still have a doula because it's more of an emotional support, like how you feel. The nurses are doing their job, with the protocols and everything. But we're there for you. Like we're there to for your needs. You want water, you want to get up, you want to, and also to serve as an advocate when, like you want somebody not to be in the room and you don't want to, then we can be an advocate for you.
I was going to say it's kind of you're not a distraction, but you help to distract the mother and even, the birthing partner from anything else that could be.
Anything else because you need to come into your intimate space where you can be yourself.
I would totally say, like they work as a filter, especially between like the medical staff and the person giving birth. Like maybe at your first birth you don't think certain things are options, right? And she's able to remind you, yes, they are. You can ask for this, or you can decide if you want this or not, or not. You can also, maybe the doula themselves could tell the doctor, hey, she's feeling this or she's feeling that, something that maybe she doesn't feel comfortable speaking, or maybe she doesn't even notice that is a factor in giving birth.
Yeah, and even when you're still like in the hospital setting and you have, interventions and stuff, we can help you bring some peace too, because it could be hectic and all that. So we can help you at least be certain, because it could be a lot going on. So you need a person there that's gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
A huge point that I would love to make to women, especially in relating to giving birth. But just women in general, or even men in whatever they're going through, that when you're coming up on pain or difficulties, it's just another stage.
It's like, I found your nose.
Can we sit for a second? It's just another phase or level of yourself that you just haven't known yet. And so I think that's why it's scary, and maybe people want to avoid it or numb it, because it doesn't feel comfortable, because it's a part of you you've never known before, you've never experienced before. And so I think that's okay, like embrace it, and we're meant to grow in this life. And so you can apply that to anything, but especially with giving birth, that mental realization was so big for me in the moment. Like when something's coming up that I've never felt before and I want to make it go away. No, let me get to know this new part of me.
Yes, and that's like what I encourage, is like welcoming that pain, because usually pain, we want to push it away, we don't want it. But in these, in this occasion, you want to welcome it. You want to welcome it, and you want to work with it instead of suppressing it or trying to get rid of it. And so what I say sometimes to the moms is like, you can use it as a mantra every time you feel like you have the contraction starting. Then you can be like in a gratitude state, like, wow, thank you so much, thank you. Like, welcome the pain and work with the pain, rather than, try to be like, oh, I want this to be done, this is too much, and, so like work with the pain instead of against the pain.
Yes. Oh, that sounds like a lot. So anyway.
And that's what's beautiful too. It's not like the pain stays the whole labor. You have periods of rest that you can use for rest and feel good, and okay, and then the next one comes, and then labor has like stages. So like at the beginning with mine, it was like my head, yes and no, and then submerging myself into it, and then at the end it's like a peak where like you almost want to give up too. And that's why, like, having a doula or someone, you could be your mom or your sister, to remind you of your strength. No, you're like so close, you're almost there, you're so close to have your baby. You just have to take it in for a little bit more, and it's usually pretty quick after that.
Yeah.
And that's what usually moms do, their epidural, because it's like the peak, and we think, oh my God, I've been in labor for 6-7 hours, and this is getting worse, and you think like it's gonna be another 7 hours, but it's not. It's probably another hour or 2. If
Wow,
so.
okay.
And when you're in that much pain,
Yes.
time, it disappears.
Yeah.
You're just in the moment, and it, like, there's no concept. For me,
Yeah.
there was like, I was doing that thing with the mountain for like 3 or 4 hours, I don't know. But like, if you tell me, I'll be like, oh my God, it's crazy. But there, it just felt like a blink, because I
Yeah.
was in there, you know, working with myself and my body, and in the moment, like, submerge myself, working with what was happening with me, you know.
And I'm sure there's
the
times
baby.
where you're like, I don't know if I can do this, but really at the end of the day, it's like,
Yeah.
you're already doing it. So.
Yeah, and you can work with your baby. Like, I used to close my eyes and I'll be like, you know, talking internally with it, like, we're doing this together. We're, you know, we're making it. We're doing it. I'm gonna be strong. You're gonna be strong. Like, whatever it is that, you know, brings you, puts you into that mindset, and to work with the baby. The baby can hear you, you know,
Yeah.
through intuition, through your feelings. So.
Hey.
Yeah. So, like, close your eyes and talk to it, and, you know.
Because it's probably, you know, it's the baby's experience too. It's not like maybe that's something that women forget. Like, it's probably not a very pleasant experience for the baby. They're being like crunched and then, you know.
So you're doing
squeezed
it
out.
together. See?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
So you work, it's not just your body, but your baby and your body and yourself working together with it. But
Yes.
it's all one unit.
And when it comes the time to meet your baby, like, think about how you know, proud of yourself, and both of you together, you feel like getting that gift through all your hard work, and that you, like, earned it, and, you know, you have your I don't know what the term is, your stripes
Yeah.
of valor or whatever.
Yeah, no, and afterwards, going through the whole experience, and, you know, from that intense, you know, labor part, which is the last one, to actually be holding your baby, it's just like an ecstasy explosion. Like, it's no other way to, you know, there's peace, bliss. It's just like, that moment is the unique, you know, every woman should experience it. It's not just for you, but like your husband and whoever's in there with you. It's a beautiful memory.
Yeah.
So just in case we didn't get to it, what is your best piece of advice first for preparing for labor, and then your best piece of advice while you're in labor?
Okay. So I think right now, like, you're getting prepared, talking, you know, about stories, about, you know, getting informed about positive stories on how did you manage your pain, like successful stories. How did you manage it? How do you do it? She shared, you know, the ocean, whatever it is, you know, finding that. And I think that helps you mentally prepare to, like, okay, this is an intense, because it is intense. It's not like, oh, we did it, yeah. It's, you know, anybody can do it, but it is definitely an intense experience. But I can totally, like, you can do it. Like, I know, I mean, we do that. We birth. So, and then when you're in labor, you know, you can have plans of what you want to have, you do, like, ideas, what you want to, you know, preparing who do you want to be in the room, you know, make sure that's like, for me, that's like key, because you want to be in your element. You want to be, to be able to feel free, you know, to whatever it is that your body needs, that your emotional need, whoever, you know. And then to be flexible, because you might get plans, oh, I want to be like this and this and that. It might not work like that. And so you kind of have to work with what is happening at the moment, and you kind of have to go with the flow with that. But also always feeling empowered. Like, if you're going to be in the hospital, know that you are in charge of your experience and own it. Like Claudia was saying, like, they wanted to give me epidural, but I knew I could do it. Like, you don't have to take it. You can say no, and they don't have to. Yeah, they can't. They can't force you. So as long as you feel confident, you know, like, that you can do it, then trust that. Trust that.
Okay, cool. Now, we brought this up earlier with Claudia. You do mandala work, and I think we kind of maybe mentioned mantras as well. So explain why you started this lovely this lovely book and how it can help.
Okay,
the birthing
well,
process
I
as well.
started that as a soothing mechanism for like a lot of transition that I was going through in my life after I had my kids and, you know, financial stress. And then we decided to move from Massachusetts to California. So, you know, with 3 kids, that was like a crazy idea. And so like that helped me soothe. And so I started just coloring it just to help me out, along with, you know, yoga and all that. And, but doodling, I feel like I got a lot of like anxiety release and stress release, and it helped me calm down and center myself. So then I ended up wanting to do a book to help, you know, other people to color it and feel that. So I added some like centering thoughts or quotes, you know, so as you color, you can do it.
I am here now.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
And it's great because it's for like observing your mind
Yeah.
to what's going on. Kind of like what happened in labor when I'm like sometimes you can going through all that in your head and you don't know. But being aware of what's going on, you know what I mean? And sometimes I help by coloring because you can observe your thought processing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you wanna focus when you're coloring. I mean, you can do it however you want. But like have the colors and then whatever calls you right away, you know, just grab it. And because we tend to be like, well, I think the yellow will go better with the orange and this and that, you know what I mean? But then if you grab that orange, you go through, because it's circles, so you go through it. It's kind of like the bird process too.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And then you go with the other one and your mind might say no, but that was your first instinct. So it's like a practice. And then you go with it. And as you go with it, you can hear your mind like chattering, like, oh, this is like, I don't really like this color and this. And by the end you finish and it's done, you come to peace. And it's a lot of like a process of letting go too.
Yeah.
Letting go of what we think is right and actually letting happen what it is right. You're letting it be.
Yeah. Okay, so how can women get a hold of one of these?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
So you can type Relax Into Being Mandalas by Jeny ST and it's in there.
Relax Into Being
Mandalas
by Jeny ST.
So it's to put you more on a sign, because we're always doing, and it's to put you more on the, you know, on the being mode, where you're just being, you know.
Yeah, and maybe distracting yourself from anything else that could be going on as well.
Yeah,
Super
actually,
cool.
but it's not like distracting you. It's actually you working with it.
Yeah,
you can't, you know what I mean? Like it's not. Well, you could use it for that, and it helps because it does. But at some point, it's to submerge yourself with what's going on and just let it be, because they're just thoughts.
It's expressing yourself in a way.
Yeah. So, and then letting your intuition kind of like, it's like a practice to just like, I went with this and I'm gonna go, and you just observe your mind, what's going on, and then you can relate that to whatever it is that is happening. You might learn lessons just by coloring. Just preparing and talking and having a positive, like we said, positive, you know, stories about it and how we deal with it and this and that can give you an idea, and that's also preparation. And I had even like moms that I work with that I wasn't able to be there with them, and they call me and they say, oh my God, that what you told me, it totally helped me during this and this. So it like you are preparing already, and you know,
just having the conversation up
just
front
having
helps.
the conversation.
Okay, cool. So even if you don't get to have Jeny with you during the process, at least get onto Amazon and get yourself a copy of this. Pack it in your birthing prep bag with some coloring pencils and express yourself.
To let go.
I'm really loving all of these.
Let
the
go
affirmations too, the mantras. Become deeply rooted in the present moment, which we talked about.
That's right.
So